Imagine being born not just to parents, but, well, to a legend, a global force who didn't just do martial arts. He lived a whole philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the inheritance Brandon and Shannon Lee got the moment they arrived. A life lived under this huge spotlight belonging to Bruce Lee.
It's quite something to think about.
What does it actually mean to step into a world already shaped by someone that monumental? Let's maybe dig into that.
It's a massive inheritance, isn't it? Not just a name, but like a whole narrative already written, carrying so much weight, so much expectation. It really sets the stage for a unique kind of life.
Absolutely. And to really get the context, you almost have to picture the 1960s. The world's changing fast, and right in the thick of it is Bruce Lee, born 1940, San Francisco.
Wow.
By the 60s, he's already this dynamic figure. He's got feet in Hollywood, early roles, but also this growing presence in Hong Kong.
And he meets Linda Emery.
Yeah, Linda Emery. They met while he was teaching in Seattle, University of Washington. Their connection, it feels almost like fate, a really powerful partnership that would, well, echo around the world.
And what's so compelling about Bruce in those early years is just his sheer drive. He wasn't just an actor or just a martial artist. He was constantly refining things, wasn't he?
Totally.
Leading to Jeet Kune Do. And what made that so revolutionary was how it threw out the rule book, the rigid forms. It was all about adapting, feeling, expressing directly.
Like his own philosophy, really. Constant growth.
Exactly. It mirrored him.
A human tornado, some called him. Just constant motion. And into this whirlwind come the kids. Brandon Bruce Lee, born Oakland, California, February 65.
Okay.
And then Shannon Emery Lee, Santa Monica, April 69. Even their middle names, that direct link.
Bruce and Emery. Yeah.
You can almost picture the vibe in their house. Maybe not typical bedtime stories, but maybe like impromptu lessons in focus,
Right.
breaking boards after dinner. I mean, who knows? But they were born into intensity.
It paints such a vivid picture, doesn't it? An upbringing just saturated with this specific kind of energy. It wasn't just dad's famous. It was being immersed in a whole way of thinking, this dedication to mastery that had to shape them.
For sure. So, look, this isn't just us reading a celebrity bio. We want to dive deep into that very human thing of being born into, well, extraordinary circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate the massive shadow of a legend? How do you deal with, profound loss so young? And then, how do you carve out your own identity carrying a name everyone on the planet knows?
That's the core, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're exploring.
It's that fascinating dance between the legacy you inherit and, forging your own way, that tension between what's expected and just wanting to be yourself.
We got to start with Brandon, born 65. His dad was really hustling then, right? Try to make it big in California.
Yeah, that pre-Hong Kong fame period.
So from day one, martial arts wasn't just like a hobby class. It was woven into life. Maybe like other kids have lullabies, he had stand.
It's an amazing contrast to think about. While his friends are playing with toy soldiers, maybe he's learning basic blocking techniques.
And then the big move.
Yeah.
1971, the family packs up, heads to Hong Kong.
Right, and that's when Bruce Lee's film career just ignites. The big boss, fist of fury. Suddenly, he's massive.
So for young Brandon, this means childhood happens under this intense public microscope in a place where his dad is becoming this, cultural icon overnight.
Imagine that shift. Your dad isn't just your dad anymore. He's on posters everywhere, a hero figure.
Then, 1973, the absolute unthinkable, Bruce Lee dies.
Yeah.
Just 32 years old.
It's a sudden.
Yeah. Official cause, cerebral edema, basically brain swelling from fluid.
Yeah.
But even today, there's still this kind of mystique around it. We won't get into the conspiracies, but for Brandon, 8 years old, that's earth-shattering.
The impact is just immense. Beyond the personal grief, which must have been unbearable, the family comes back to Seattle. Linda's now facing raising 2 kids alone, grieving herself, all while still under that media glare.
The strength that must have taken.
Mm.
It's hard to fathom.
True.
And yet, somehow, amidst all that chaos, Brandon finds himself drawn to martial arts. Specifically, his dad's Jeet Kune Do.
It wasn't just like an obligation.
Doesn't seem like it. Reports suggest it was a genuine connection for him.
Mm-hmm.
And alongside that, he had his own dreams, acting. He apparently said he didn't want to be an accountant. The stage, the screen, that was calling him.
It's interesting, isn't it? Gravitating towards a similar field, performance, but still needing to find his own way within it, honoring the foundation, but establishing himself.
He started making his own moves in Hollywood in the 80s. Films like Legacy of Rage, Rapid fire. You could see flashes of his dad, sure, the presence,
Yeah.
but also his own thing, his own charisma starting to come through.
He was carving out his space.
Definitely. Then came The Crow, 1994, the film that felt like it, his big breakout role.
So much promise.
And then The Tragedy, March 31st, 1993. That awful prop gun accident on set, just heartbreaking. He was 28, right on the edge of, really showing the world what he could do.
The timing is just profoundly sad.
Yeah.
He was stepping out fully as Brandon Lee, the actor, not just Bruce Lee's son anymore, and that talent just gone.
Such a stark reminder. Okay, let's shift focus a bit, Shannon. Born in Santa Monica, 69.
Right.
Her earliest years were also shaped by her dad's rising star, that energy around the family preparing for the Hong Kong move.
Yeah, she arrived just as Bruce was really on the cusp of becoming that global icon. So even her first memories would have been tinged with his ambition, his skyrocketing fame.
But she was only 4 when he passed away. So her memories, they're different, right? More like
Ah.
fragments, echoes of stories, looking at photos, watching his films later.
Imagine trying to piece together who your father was when he's this massive public figure, almost mythical, hearing things like, oh, your dad could beat up Superman. How does a 4-year-old process that?
It's a really unique way to relate to a parent.
It poses a huge challenge to forming your own identity, I'd think.
Hmm.
Reconciling those tiny personal flashes of memory with this giant public persona, navigating the legend.
After Bruce died, they came back to Seattle. Again, Linda was the rock. Shannon, from what we understand, was bright, did well in school. But her first interests weren't acting or martial arts initially.
Right. She explored music, theater.
Yeah, a different creative path than Brandon took at first.
Which kind of highlights that even with this incredibly unique shared upbringing, they were still individuals, distinct people with their own sparks. It wasn't automatic they'd follow directly in Bruce's footsteps.
True. Eventually, though, she did connect more deeply with her father's world. She trained in Jeet Kune Do, studied under Ted Wong, actually, one of Bruce's key students.
Okay, so she did embrace that side too.
And she did some acting in the 90s. Films like High Voltage. She had a role in Blade.
Right, I remember that. But her biggest impact, I think, it has to be her work preserving and really promoting Bruce Lee's legacy.
Absolutely. Founding the Bruce Lee Foundation in '98, that was huge. Creating a real platform to share his philosophy, his teachings, make sure his influence didn't just fade away.
Yeah, she's been the driving force behind the estate, managing everything, overseeing documentaries like Be Water, which was fantastic.
So good. She hasn't just been a passive guardian, has she? She's been actively amplifying his voice, making sure his ideas are still out there, still inspiring people.
That term you used before, flamethrower, that really fits. She's been this powerful, proactive force, shaping the narrative, protecting the integrity of his work, keeping it relevant.
So when you step back and look at the whole family's impact,
Yeah.
Bruce Lee, his influence is so much bigger than just kicks and movies, right?
Oh, absolutely. He was a philosopher, a trailblazer for Asian representation, challenging stereotypes, a cultural bridge builder.
And his core ideas, don't think, feel. That wasn't about being mindless. It was about intuition, being present.
Exactly. And be like water. Such a powerful metaphor for adaptability, for being formless, overcoming obstacles.
And Brandon and Shannon, they both inherited all of that. The good stuff, the opportunities, but also the immense pressure.
Yeah. And it's worth just quickly clearing up a few common misconceptions while we're here.
Good point.
Like Bruce being born in Hong Kong. Nope. San Francisco first. Brandon's death, as awful as it was a tragic accident, not some conspiracy.
Right. Very important to state that clearly.
And Shannon's achievements, they stand on their own. She's built something significant, not just ridden on her father's coattails.
Precisely. And maybe that's why their story still hits so home now. In 2025, it touches these big themes: identity, heritage, resilience, legacy. Plus, Bruce Lee himself is still everywhere in pop culture.
It really speaks to the power of their individual journeys within this extraordinary family story. Both Brandon and Shannon had to grapple with that weight, and both found their own ways to contribute to carry things forward.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, let's just circle back to those main ideas. We've looked at these unique paths Brandon and Shannon Lee took, born into the huge shadow of Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen how they dealt with incredible loss, how they worked to find their own voices while carrying this massive global legacy.
And while their situation was, extreme, unique, their experiences tap into things we all face, don't they?
I think so.
We all navigate expectations from somewhere. We all face loss. We all try to figure out our own path, regardless of, fame or fortune.
Exactly. Everyone carries the weight of some kind of expectation, family, society, even just our own internal ones.
Yeah.
So maybe something for you listening to think about, what's the concept of legacy in your own life? What kind of mark do you want to leave? How do you deal with the influence of the giants
Mm.
in your world, whoever they might be?
And how can you maybe apply that be like water idea,
Hmm.
that fluidity, that adaptability when you face your own challenges?
Yeah. The Lee family story, with all its highs and deep lows, it really is this powerful reminder of how complex inheritance is and how personal that journey of finding yourself truly is.
It's a story that sticks with you because really at its heart, it's about the human ability to adapt, to keep going, and to find meaning even when things are incredibly tough.